Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry made things official on Saturday. There it is.
For years, whispers floated through fan circles, online forums, and entertainment blogs about Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau. To people no one ever expected to hear in the same sentence. Rumors of a surprising bond between the global pop icon and the former Canadian Prime Minister refused to die, even though no one had solid proof. Until now. In a recent interview, Katy Perry finally addressed what people have suspected for months. And what she revealed has shocked both her fans and the political world. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, and it wasn't what anyone saw coming, but it was honest. Her words opened a door that had remained firmly shut, and for the first time, the public got a glimpse of what truly happened behind the scenes. Some fans claim they always knew something was there, while others say they're stunned by how open she was. But one thing is certain, this new information has changed the entire conversation. It has redefined how people see both Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau, perhaps forever. So what exactly did she say? What was hiding beneath months of silence, speculation, and carefully guarded appearances? And how does this one revelation rewrite everything we thought we knew about their relationship? Stay with me, because what Katy Perry admitted doesn't just answer old questions. It raises new ones, and trust me, this story is far from ordinary. The earliest spark ignited in July 2025. Katy Perry had just stepped away from a long, emotionally complex relationship with Orlando Bloom. She was entering a new phase of life, rebuilding her creative momentum after the final curtain fell on her Las Vegas residency. Justin Trudeau, meanwhile, was starting to breathe again after the intensity of political life. He had stepped out of office and was rediscovering life beyond speeches, debates, and diplomatic obligations. Both were at transitional points, navigating unfamiliar freedom. And sometimes, it's during these quiet resets that the unexpected lives cross paths. Their first rumored interaction took place in Montreal, where Perry attended a children's education charity gala. Trudeau, known for championing similar causes, was one of the keynote figures. At first, their appearance in the same room raised no eyebrows. Celebrities and politicians often attend the same philanthropic events, but then came the reports that caught everyone off guard. A Montreal-based entertainment blog posted a short write-up claiming Perry and Trudeau were spotted later that night dining at a discreet riverside restaurant, known for hosting high-profile guests who prefer privacy. The article didn't get much traction until an anonymous Reddit user posted a grainy photo, allegedly taken that night. The image wasn't clear enough to confirm identities, but the silhouettes, the posture, the angle, everything bore just enough resemblance to fuel the flames. Some dismissed it. Others insisted it was real. And then, the story took on a life of its own. A month later, European paparazzi captured photos of Perry vacationing on a private yacht in the Mediterranean. Nothing unusual, until weeks later, Trudeau was photographed stepping off what looked like the same yacht in a different port city. The media didn't dare connect the dots, but online sleuths, they did. People began comparing the yacht structures, railings, even unique markings. Screenshots floated around social media, captioned with, "Coincidence? Think again." As September arrived, the internet detectives kicked into overdrive. Flight trackers revealed matching destinations. Trudeau's government-affiliated jet landed in London just hours before one of Perry's performances. Perry liked a social media post from a Canadian activist who had recently met Trudeau. Each of these small details might have meant nothing on their own, but together, they painted a picture people couldn't ignore. Still, the silence from both sides was deafening. No confirmation, no denial, just mystery. By late September, the story had reached global tabloids. But without a single solid photograph, it remained speculation, a puzzle missing its final, undeniable piece. Long before the rumors took off, Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau were navigating worlds that, while different on the surface, shared striking similarities. Fame defined both of them, though in completely different forms. Perry, the queen of stadium-filling performances and artistic spectacle, and Trudeau, the face of political leadership marked by legacy, pressure, and constant public scrutiny. Both carried roles that required them to balance visibility with privacy, accessibility with mystique. Their worlds overlapped in a quiet, almost invisible way through international cultural circuits, charity networks, and global advocacy platforms. Both supported climate initiatives, women's empowerment, and education programs. Perry's work with UNICEF and global awareness campaigns often placed her in the same orbit as Trudeau, who remained active in environmental dialogue even after leaving office. They moved in similar global spaces, though rarely caught together. Perry's public image was entering a more reflective era. Her Vegas residency had shown fans a mature artist who'd grown beyond her bubblegum pop beginnings. Interviews painted her as a woman who valued authenticity, motherhood, and meaning over spectacle. Trudeau, on the other hand, was rediscovering life without political office. His focus shifted to think tank discussions, sustainability forums, and global leadership programs. He was no longer defined by daily political battles, but by a quieter form of influence. Observers began noticing how naturally their paths seemed to align. Perry attended a youth climate summit in Geneva in August. Trudeau delivered a keynote in the same venue 2 days later. Both praised similar global initiatives on social media within the same week. Neither mentioned the other, but the overlap felt unmistakable. What intrigued people most was that neither seemed to chase attention. They weren't posting selfies, dropping hints, or teasing fans. Their silence created a void, and curiosity rushed to fill it. Paris, a city that effortlessly transforms ordinary moments into cinematic scenes, became the setting of the revelation the world had been waiting for. On October 25, 2025, the quiet streets of La Mer unexpectedly turned into the backdrop of a cultural shockwave. Katy Perry had just celebrated her 41st birthday and was attending a fashion-related event for one of her longtime creative collaborators. But it wasn't a runway appearance that captured global attention that morning. It was a simple walk. The photographs appeared online with no context, no explanation. And yet, they said everything. Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau strolled side by side, wrapped in autumn layers, chatting and laughing like two people who had nothing to hide. She wore an oversized beige coat and a loosely draped scarf. He kept it understated with a black wool jacket and casual sneakers. There was no entourage, no visible security, just two recognizable figures blending effortlessly into a narrow Parisian street. International outlets picked up the images within hours. Headlines poured in. Katy Perry spotted with Justin Trudeau in Paris. The rumors might be true after all, witnesses added fuel to the fire. One cafe employee told an Indian publication that the pair spent nearly an hour inside, sharing warm conversation before exiting through a discreet side door. Paparazzi called out, but neither responded. They simply smiled and moved on. What struck people wasn't the sighting itself, but the comfort, the ease, the familiarity. Months of vague clues and half-rumors suddenly made sense. This wasn't speculation anymore, and the timing, even more telling. Perry could have celebrated her birthday anywhere in the world. Trudeau, who had been in Europe for a conference earlier that week, had no publicly known reason to be in Paris. Yet here they were, walking together without hesitation. They didn't need to release a statement. The stroll was the statement before Paris exposed the truth. Katy Perry had already given the world a small, playful hint 2 weeks earlier, during her concert in London. A fan held up a sign that read, "I heard you're single." Perry paused mid-performance, smiled mischievously, and replied, "You heard I was single. That's interesting." Her tone carried the warmth of someone who knew more than she was letting on. The audience screamed, but Perry moved on with the show as if nothing happened. Clips of that moment went viral overnight. Fans debated endlessly. Was she joking? Was she hinting at something? At the time, no one could be certain. But after the Paris photos surfaced, that short exchange gained new meaning. It felt like a breadcrumb she had dropped intentionally, testing the waters before the world connected the dots. People who know her well say this is classic Katy, playful, teasing, subtly honest without ever giving too much away. She's never been one for stiff announcements. She communicates in small, memorable gestures. Looking back, her words in London weren't just crowd banter, they were foreshadowing, behind the headlines. Those familiar with both Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau describe a connection rooted less in spectacle and more in shared understanding. They both spent years being intensely watched, judged, and interpreted. That experience shapes how they move in the world, cautious, deliberate, and valuing genuine connection over noise. Friends of Perry describe her as someone entering a thoughtful stage in life. She has learned to protect her emotional energy fiercely. After years of touring, raising a child, and balancing global fame, her priorities have shifted toward calm, intention, and authenticity. Sources say she and Trudeau first bonded during a sustainability conference, where both were scheduled to appear. Their conversations reportedly stretched beyond the formal sessions, delving into topics like leadership, creativity, global responsibility, and personal fulfillment. People close to Trudeau say that life after office transformed him. He became more introspective, more selective about who he spent time with. Instead of political dinners and diplomatic obligations, his days revolved around global initiatives, education programs, and environmental projects that overlap in their missions. Climate awareness, youth empowerment, philanthropy naturally deepened their rapport. Their relationship reportedly unfolded away from cameras. Private dinners hosted by mutual friends, quiet moments during Perry's European tour stops, conversations that extended late into the night. Witnesses described their dynamic as balanced and grounded, neither trying to impress, neither trying to perform, just a people who understand the weight of fame and the rare relief of being around someone who gets it. People who have seen them together say they share an unusual comfort, an unspoken understanding. They aren't flashy or showy. They don't feed the public curiosity. They simply exist beside each other with ease, and perhaps that's what appealed to Perry most. A close collaborator described Trudeau as someone who doesn't need the spotlight to feel relevant. In a world where everything is broadcast, that kind of grounded energy is rare. Whether this bond becomes something permanent or remains a meaningful connection without labels, it's clear both value the silence surrounding it. No announcements, no clarifications, just living quietly on their own terms. When the photos from Paris hit the internet, reactions poured in instantly. Some fans screamed in excitement, others stared in disbelief. A few said the pairing made perfect sense, while others admitted they never saw this coming. For Perry's fans, the news symbolized a new era, a mature, peaceful chapter after years of public romantic ups and downs. To those who followed Trudeau's career, this was a surprising yet refreshing shift. A glimpse into a man who had stepped away from political intensity and found something human, light, and grounding. Of course, not everyone was pleased. Critics argued that such a pairing could invite unwanted attention. Political commentators worried about public misinterpretations. Some believed the fascination wasn't fair. After all, both individuals deserve privacy, yet, despite all the noise, something unusual stood out. Neither Perry nor Trudeau fed the fire. They didn't post statements or try to steer public opinion. Their silence, once again, became their shield. And gradually, the noise softened. People began appreciating the calmness between them, the dignity of choosing not to explain themselves in a world that demands constant explanation. In an era defined by oversharing, the quiet connection between Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau feels almost old-fashioned. There are no public declarations, no choreographed performances, no social media hints, just the lives aligning at the right time. Their bond represents something modern yet timeless, shared values, mutual understanding, and the peace of being with someone who knows what it's like to live under constant scrutiny. It's a reminder that ultimately, the most meaningful relationships don't need noise, they grow in silence. For years, fans whispered about it. For months, the rumors grew louder. Every corner of the internet had its own theory, its own timeline, its own version of the truth. And then, in a surprising twist, Katy Perry finally broke her silence. A moment that felt both unexpected and inevitable at the same time. A moment that changed the way people looked at her and him. Because in a brand new interview, Katy revealed just enough to confirm what millions had been suspecting. Not a full confession, not a dramatic reveal, but a quiet acknowledgement that carried more weight than a headline ever could. The world paused. Social media ignited. And suddenly, a story that started as harmless celebrity gossip transformed into one of the most fascinating cultural conversations of the year. What did she mean by her words? Why now? And how did a rumor that began as an internet whisper reach a point where even Katy couldn't ignore it anymore? This is that story. The timeline begins in July 2025. Katy Perry had just stepped out of a long-term relationship. A new chapter, a new era, emotionally and artistically. On the other side, Justin Trudeau was quietly redefining his life after leaving political office. No campaigns, no press briefings, no global spotlight. Just a man trying to rediscover himself outside the world of formal power. The first spark came at a charity gala in Montreal, an event that wasn't supposed to be extraordinary. Yet eyewitnesses noted something interesting. Katy and Trudeau exchanging a brief, warm greeting. Not flirtatious, not dramatic, just familiar. Days later, dinner rumors appeared on a local gossip page. claiming the two were seen at a small riverside restaurant. The post didn't go viral, but it planted a seed. The next wave arrived from an unexpected source, Reddit, a blurry, grainy photo uploaded by an anonymous user. The figures on a private dock, the silhouettes looked strikingly similar to Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau. It wasn't confirmation, far from it, but it was enough for online sleuths to start digging. The theories grew when both were spotted boarding flights to Europe within hours of each other. Destinations different, but timelines identical. Soon after, a yacht rumor spread across Twitter, claiming they were seen with mutual friends in the Mediterranean. Still, no one knew anything for sure. No statements, no denials, no clarifications, and sometimes silence speaks louder than truth. To understand why these rumors gained so much momentum, you have to understand who Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau are beneath the fame. Katy, a global pop powerhouse who had spent years balancing superstardom with personal evolution. Someone who had grown more reflective, more grounded, more intentional about the people around her. Trudeau, a former prime minister known for his charisma, diplomacy, and public presence, now stepping into advocacy, global causes, and personal reflection. Their worlds had already been quietly intersecting for years. Charity events, climate initiatives, educational programs. They had mutual friends in activism, entertainment, and philanthropy. But their similarities went deeper. Both had lived their lives under intense global scrutiny. Both understood how heavy attention can feel. Both valued privacy more as they grew older. They didn't chase the spotlight. It chased them. So when fans noticed that their social media themes began aligning, similar messages about purpose, compassion, awareness, it no longer felt like coincidence. Their orbits weren't clashing. They were converging. On October 25, 2025, the speculation reached a turning point. Paris, the quiet streets of La Mer, became the backdrop of a moment that would ripple across the world. Katy Perry was in France for her birthday in a major fashion event. Trudeau had no official reason to be in the city, which is why the photos hit the internet like electricity. To people walking side by side. No entourage, no security bubble, no attempt to avoid being seen. Just the individuals sharing a relaxed afternoon. An eyewitness described them as comfortable, warm, and at ease, spending almost an hour in a discreet cafe tucked between old stone buildings and cobbled streets. The images spread across every major outlet within minutes, and unlike fabricated stories, this moment felt real, unfiltered, unposed, human. The internet erupted, not because the photos were dramatic, but because they were ordinary. And sometimes the simplest moments are the most revealing. 2 weeks before Paris, there had been a clue. During a London concert, a fan held up a sign, "I heard your single." Katy paused, smiled, tilted her head, and answered in a way that felt playful. But later. The moment went viral instantly. Fans laughed, but after the Paris photos appeared, the clip resurfaced, and suddenly, it wasn't just a joke anymore. It was a hint, a breadcrumb, a sign that she had something in her life worth protecting. Katy has always used humor as a shield in the doorway, and that little moment on stage became part of a much bigger picture. If you look beyond the headlines, what you find is a connection rooted not in spectacle, but in intention. Insiders say their first meaningful conversation happened at a sustainability conference earlier that year, the kind of event where people talk not about fame, but about impact. They reportedly spent almost an hour discussing everything from education to climate advocacy, and something clicked. Katy had reached a stage in her life where she valued stability, depth, and emotional honesty. Trudeau, after stepping away from politics, was embracing a softer, more introspective chapter. Sources close to them say they share the same values: empathy, growth, global awareness. They both understand the pressure of global attention. They both know what it feels like to be misunderstood, and they both appreciate the strength of quiet connection. Witness accounts describe them as relaxed, genuine, and content when seen together. No theatrics, no forced intimacy, just the people who fit.